Hey guys, Petr from CyclistShub.com here, and this is my review of Farsports Ventoux S wheels. These are the most expensive wheels I've ever bought, and as you could just see, I've been riding them in high mountains and many other scenarios. I will compare them to other Chinese wheel sets like Lún HYPER, Elitewheels DRIVE or Overkill Pro. At the end of this video you will know their pros, cons and whether they are worth it. So without further ado, let's dive in. Remember that this is the previous generation of the current Farsports S wheels, which have 50mm front and 55mm rear deep rims. The front wheel weighs 637 grams and the rear wheel weighs 756 grams, so the total is about 1393 grams. This weight makes them a few grams lighter than the 50mm Lún HYPER 2020, but they are about 100 grams heavier than Elitewheels DRIVE 55mm. Their internal rim width is 19.2mm and the external rim width is 25.5, but 26.5 in the widest point. This rim width makes them ideal for 25mm tires because the tire rim transition with 28mm tires is not as smooth. The hubs are designed in-house by Farsports. They have steel bearings, and according to Hambini's review, they are well sealed to withstand the elements. I added a link to his review below where you learn more about the hubs and the technicalities of these wheels. The higher-end Farsports Evo wheels have ceramic bearings but cost $500 more. Is this premium worth it? Only you decide. One interesting detail is that the nipples are not glued to the spokes, but Farsports spokes use taper glue less friction fit joint. I know what are you thinking. What the f is that? Well, check out the infographic for more details or the article in the description. Simply put, this technology eliminates the risk of glue failure. So how did these wheels do in my quality control checks? I honestly expected better results. The lateral and radial Trueness was not at such a high level as, for example, Overkill Pro 2022. The front wheel turned out well, with only one spoke having tension outside 5% of the average. I also didn't observe any significant deviations, but the rear wheel ended up worse. Two spokes were outside the 10% limit. However, the other spokes were fairly consistent. So is this a problem? I don't think so. I've came across much worse wheels. These are well designed and the ride quality is not affected by these little things. But some of you may correct me and say these results are bad. I would love to read the opinions of experienced wheel builders in the comments below. The hubs were perfectly centered though. I double checked this using the dishing tool. I also looked inside the rims. I found no defects and the rim walls looked smooth and clean. Probably the best of all wheels I had actually. On the other hand, putting the tire on was really difficult. These wheels gave me the most trouble of any I've tested so far, but I could see them with a floor pump only. I didn't need a tire sealant or an air compressor. In the package, by the way, were the so-called velo plugs. These can theoretically be used instead of a rim tape. I tried them and it resulted in the tire becoming much harder to put on while still letting air through. Do you have experience with wheel plugs? Let me know in the comments below. Luckily, Farsports nowadays already supplies their wheels with a pre-installed rim tape, which is great. I've been riding these wheels for thousands of kilometers now. I use them on smooth roads, rougher tarmac, cobblestones, in high mountains and on fast descents in the Dolomites, Switzerland, or France, or Italy. Okay, I will stop flexing now. Anyway, in almost every possible scenario, I remember telling my friends that I didn't need such an expensive wheel set. I thought it's useless. Ironically, these are the ones I use the most. They just feel great to ride. I love their stiffness to weight ratio, so when I put the hammer down, I feel an instant acceleration. I appreciate that on climbs or sprints. Although I'm not sure if my 1800 watts peak power can even be called sprinting. They spin great and keep the momentum at higher speeds exceeding 40 km per hour, which is about 25 miles per hour, similarly well to heavier wheels like the Overkill Pros. I was quite surprised by this, as I have experience with lighter wheels like the Elitewheels DRIVE, which are not as fast on flats. Feeling wise, the Ventoux S have the best crosswind stability, perhaps 2 classes better than the Lún HYPERs. I don't have to concentrate so much on not getting blown away by the wind. I also like their whoosh whoosh sound. I try to capture it on camera. Listen to it for yourself. One of the Farsports benefits is also their crash replacement policy. If you damage their wheels during a crash, you get a 35% discount on the next pair. This is not very common. The standard warranty is valid for 2 years. It's also nice to see that Farsports wheels meet ISO quality standards. They claim they even exceed them. I can't verify this claim, but based on reviews of many others and also my own experience with Farsports wheels, I can say that they belong on the higher side of the spectrum of Chinese brands. Honestly, it's hard to find any significant flaws in these wheels. If I'm going to be picky, I'd say they are not as comfortable as steel-spoked wheels. If you live in an area with bumpy roads, you will probably have to compensate with a slightly lower tire pressure. I would also appreciate baked decals. That's because these ones are just stickers that are easy to damage. On the other hand, they are reflective, improving your low-light visibility. A unique rim pattern could also make these wheels more attractive, but that's just a blind guess and a personal preference. They make my bike look cool anyway. Probably the biggest concern for customers will be any potential warranty claim. While Farsports is working on extending its distributors network, it is nowhere near established as Western brands. So in a case of a claim, which I believe won't be necessary, you will have to communicate everything online. Fortunately, Farsports has a lot of good English-speaking employees and those who understand the technicalities, so you shouldn't have a problem with their customer support. Lastly, I want to mention the relatively poor packing. The spare spokes came in a plastic bag, not in a box or something nicer. However, it's possible they already improved this. In the end, I bought these wheels more than a year ago. So, are these almost 2 grand wheels worth it? I may surprise you, but not for everyone. I would recommend them to those who appreciate marginal gains, want wheels comparable to the leading Western brands, and have the money to spend. For about half the price when using my discount codes, you can buy, for example, Elitewheels DRIVE or Lún HYPER 2nd edition. Yes, Farsports S are better in almost every aspect, no doubt about it. But to notice the differences, you have to ride the wheelsets side by side or to be an experienced rider. They are lighter, more stable, more comfortable than HYPERs. They spin better than Elitewheels DRIVE and similarly well to YOLIO Pros. They are just a little bit heavier than Elitewheels DRIVE, so they are not as suitable for climbing. But I use them in high mountains anyway and I've been just fine. Overall, I find these wheels to be well balanced and suitable for most terrains. Look, I love riding them, but I think they are a little bit overkill for an average Joe like me. But once you try something better, it's hard to go back, right? Anyway, I hope you like this review. If so, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. Hey, I almost forgot. Here is their hub sign.